Hey guys, so I want to talk to you today about real estate. Buying a home in 2025 is some things that you might want to consider um, when doing it, before doing so rather. So to introduce myself, my name is Rodney. I'm a realtor here in Brevard County, Florida. Buying a house is something that a lot of people um, want to do or feel that they um, should do. Um, And again, there's nothing wrong with buying a home. And but one thing I think, persons need to understand is that um, buying a home is something that you do if you want to do it. First, you have to want to buy a home. If you don't really want to buy a home, then, don't buy one. Simple as that. I think there are benefits to, becoming a homeowner. But there are also, there are cons to being a homeowner, things you're going to have to, um, you know, that comes with being a homeowner. So, number one, I would say, if you don't want to be a homeowner, if you don't want to buy a home, you don't care to have one, then, don't do it because you feel that other, that, well, because you feel that, it's something you have to do and you're not a real adult if you don't have one, or you're not accomplished if you're not a homeowner. That's just certainly not true. There are plenty of persons who rent their homes and they're fine. Um, Even when it comes to, just a side point, financial freedom and, through home ownership, it's honestly just not, it's not true. You know, I think we, as a society, I don't know when that started, and I'd be the first one to tell you. I mean, I got caught up in that too, as your, primary residence being an investment, right? And I could do a whole separate video on, um, home buying and, yada yada, and why I don't really feel that houses, specifically single family homes, and why I don't really feel that they're really an investment in general, honestly. Even if you're an investor, and I'm speaking from personal experience. I've been in real estate since 2018. I flipped houses. I was a landlord for uh, what, 5, 6 years. Um, yeah, I've done it. So, I mean, that's just my opinion. So I'm not saying that you should you know take what I'm just some guy on YouTube. So whatever I'm saying is not law. I'm just some guy on YouTube, and you know that's it. Uh, but in any event, so yeah, first thing, make sure you want to buy a house. Just do it because you want to. Don't do it because you feel you have to, right? So that's number one. Um, Number two, once you decide that you want to buy a house, understand that your primary home is just that, your primary home. Forget about this whole like investment thing. It's not an investment. As a matter of fact, it's a poor investment. It's something that you're doing for you uh, and your family. Uh, I could tell you, why I own a home personally. So full disclosure, I'm a homeowner myself. As I mentioned prior, I was a landlord, so I had many properties. So as a homeowner myself, rather, so homeowner myself, I own my home really because it's just a way for me to um, provide, a measure of stability for, you know, my family and I. Um, I just kind of want a place where my kids can, grow up and always call home. You know, um, I don't want to necessarily uh, be at risk of having to move around because I don't own where I live and so forth. So it just kind of creates that stability. It's in my opinion. I think that owning a home is definitely a lot easier to. You have more control over your living situation, and when you have more control over your living situation, it's life's just just that much more stable. And so, I would say definitely um, stability is a reason why I do it, why I'm a homeowner. And I think that should be a reason why a lot of people do it. Because that's really what it does. It is a big benefit, you know, being able to raise your family in the same place, you know, not moving around a lot, you know. Yeah, you know, I think it's better that way. You know, growing up, I kind of moved around a lot, and so, um, and that's not to say anything negative about, um, you know, but you know, you know, it's it's better, I think, in my opinion, to have a place to call home. You know, have a place where you can build those memories, and it's just one of those. I think it's just it really helps with emotional stability, and so. But in any event, you have to figure out why you're buying that home. But understand it's not. Don't say investment. I'm here to tell you it's a bad investment. So don't say I'm buying a home so you know for an investment property and all that stuff. And look, I'm here to tell you it's a bad investment. Don't do it. So if you're only buying a home because somebody told you, hey, it's a great investment, you know, buy the house because it's a great investment. Um, yeah, I'd probably not do that. I wouldn't do it. so, uh, so yeah, figure out why you're doing it. You know, what's the reason you're doing it besides the fact that you think it's a good investment. Um, uh, but I'll go over actually, you know, what I'll do is I'll make another video to like some of the more concrete benefits, at least what I think of owning a home. Because there are benefits. Just because it's not a good investment product does not necessarily mean that there's no benefits to it, right? So, yeah, right. Would you, I don't know, would you invest in a good couch? You know, what's going to be your return on a good couch? Probably no return on a good couch, right? You know, you're probably not going to get this great return on a good couch or anything. However, you know, what you probably will get is, you know, a couch that you'll have for a long time. So that's the investment. The investment really is not what you're going to make reselling it in the future. The investment is, well, it's going to, you know, prevent you from having to spend more money in the future because you can buy one good couch and never have to buy it again, right? So it's just an example of, you know, not every investment has to, uh, result in some kind of profitable return or something like that, right? So that's all I'm saying when it comes to that. So, let's see if we can go ahead, turn around here. So basically, you know, that's something that you don't want to, um, you know, the whole investment thing, just forget about it. So figure out why you want to buy the house. Um, so the next thing I would probably say, when it comes to home ownership, one of the most important things really, figure out what you can actually afford. And I'm not talking about what your realtor told you or what the mortgage broker tells you, what the lender says, you know, that you could afford. Forget about all that. You know, and I'm not saying don't go by what the lender's telling you or what your real estate agent's telling you or whatever. You have to figure out, you know, all of the details of your life, right? You know exactly how much money you spend. You know your spending habits better than anyone else is going to know, right? They're just taking into consideration, you know, your debt to income ratio, which there are a lot of other things that you do in your life that's not a part of that debt to income ratio. So, you know, the trap that a lot of, you know, new home buyers, new homeowners fall into, sorry, a lot of new homeowners fall into is that they end up being house poor because they went by, you know, their lender said, hey, yeah, you can afford this, you qualify for this much money. You know, you qualify for $400,000, right? And so you go look for a house that's $400,000. Why? Because, well, you're going to try to find the best house you can for what you're qualified for. And that in itself is really not the best way to go about things because, again, they're taking into consideration what's called a debt to income ratio. And they're not taking into consideration everything you do with your money, just your major bills, really. But they're not taking into consideration food. They're not taking into consideration gas. They're not taking into consideration daycare, right? If you're paying for daycare, they're just looking at, debt, like credit card bills, major debts, credit card bills, your actual, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. That's what encompasses your mortgage payment, and whatever other, credit card bills and whatever you have. They're looking at that compared to your income, and they're going to say, hey, well, Mr. Smith, you can afford a $40,000 house based on, the qualifications, right? Your qualifications. So, on the information you provided. So then you get in your house and you're like, oh yeah, we can afford it, right? So you look at this payment, and the mortgage payment's like, $2,400 or something like that, right? So you're looking at this payment saying, well, we make, X amount of dollars per month, and so we could afford the house. Well, what you need to understand though is, what are you spending now? So start looking at if you don't already have a budget, look at your budget today and say, hey, look, what am I spending? How much am I spending on, how much am I spending? How much are we spending? And figure that out. And, if you're a married couple, especially, and again, I'm not trying to tell you what to do with your marriage. However, your expenses, you guys need to know exactly the right hand needs to know what the left hand's doing, right? So, quite frankly, it's beyond me why that's not like, I don't know how marriages even operate like that. But again, I'm not going to really, look, I'm not picking on you if that's how you do it. However, in this scenario, the right hand needs to know what the left hand's doing. Okay, so for at least, so you guys can figure out, how is this house going to really affect you? This huge purchase is going to affect your life. So you need to know all your expenses, spending habits. If you're a married couple, you guys got to know everything, right? So, in any event, so make sure you could afford this house, and you're not going to end up becoming house poor, and the mortgage is going to be a burden. Another thing you need to take into consideration too, when you're looking at whether or not you could afford it, you're going to have to be responsible for repairs on this property. See, it's no more landlord, no more calling the landlord and say, hey, look, the AC's not working. That is your responsibility now. So you're going to have to figure out whether or not you're going to have to figure out how much this stuff is roughly going to cost. Now you can ask your realtor, or and maybe they should be able to have an idea of how much this stuff costs. But yeah, so that's a new expense. You're not gonna, so when that AC breaks, and the AC guy comes over and says, look, it's gonna cost you $4,000. What are you gonna do? Add on more debt? Then it's not $4,000, it's like $6,000 because you're getting the you have the convenience now of financing it. So again, these are expenses you're gonna have to take into consideration when buying a home, becoming a homeowner. You're now responsible for it all. That roof. That's why I say, when buying a home, buying the fanciest house, the biggest house is not necessarily always. That's one thing here, and it's just maybe like a cultural thing. It's just something with the American culture. We always want the biggest and best, and it's just like, I don't know if I would, say, look, if you can get a 2,000 square foot house, great. But if there's a 1,700 square foot house or 1,800 square foot house, but it's just in much better condition, why not consider that? The 1,700 square foot house with the roof, the brand new roof, especially if you're in Florida, roofs it's a big thing right now. And so, brand new roof, brand new AC unit, all of these things, a brand new water heater, new appliances. It's just, the house is just turnkey, right? Or even a new build that might not be as fancy, but everything's brand new. everything's brand new, you know. And so um, there's a few different things you might want to consider instead of buying that, 2,000 square foot house. It's bigger, and maybe it has some more luxurious features, but it needs a roof, or the roof it qualifies, but it's like 7 years old. Not saying anything's wrong with that, but I know viewers who are probably watching this and you're not from Florida, you're probably like, what's wrong with a 7-year-old roof? Yeah, Florida problems. So, yeah. um, but yes, so 7 years, versus, a brand new roof, right? With the home that's smaller, which is still plenty of space for most people, right? For most of us, it's plenty of space. So again, just some things that you might want to consider. Consider your budget. Really, really consider your budget. Your budget is really, really, um, important in this equation. And they're just things that your lender is not taking into consideration the other aspect of your life. Even, money to have fun. Owning a home's not fun if it breaks you, you know? If owning a home breaks you, it's not fun. It's not fun. It's nothing fun about that. So keep that in mind. Trying to think what else I got for you guys. So yeah, budgeting. I mean, because you want to make sure you're going to be able to afford this house. And another thing too is like, hey, in the event someone can't, work, or someone's income is negatively affected or removed altogether, can the other party take care of it? Or if you're single, what's the, how do you fix that situation? How do you protect yourself from foreclosure? Ultimately, and it's just a waste. I mean, just all this money you put into this property, now it's all gone because it's being taken away, right? So again, these are just things that you want to take into consideration. So especially if you're a single person, I wouldn't say, yeah, you're qualified for $400,000 house, so go out and buy a $400,000 house. And of course, if that's what you want to do, then I'm a realtor. I'll sell it to you. I guess it's like with anything else. I mean, smoking cigarettes the best thing? No, but the clerk, the store clerk will sell it to you. The business owner will sell it to you. It's on the shelf because you want it. And so, but just because we can get it doesn't necessarily mean we should, right? So, yeah, you want to take that into consideration. Your budget. I mean, that's probably one of the most important things in this video is your budget. So I'm just going to go ahead and recap. I might make another video, just kind of elaborating and giving a couple more examples, things you should really, consider when buying a home. But yeah, so, but yeah, just to recap, number one, do you want to be a homeowner? The answer is no. Forget it. Just don't do it. You got to do it because you want to do it. Number two, why are you buying the home? So you want the home, okay, cool. Now, why is it going to be beneficial for you? In other words, what is this home doing for you? Why is it going to be beneficial for you to buy this home, right? So that's number two. Number three, make sure that it's not going to break you. Don't be house poor. It's not fun. Look, being house poor is not fun. It's not. I mean, it's not. Don't do it. Don't do it just to, don't buy a house because you don't want to, right? So you buy a house because you don't want to. You buy a house that you're buying a house you don't want to, but you buy it anyway, right? And the reason why you buy it is because all your friends are doing it, or everyone's telling you that you're not a real, adult if you don't have one, right? And then you buy a house that's, just, in the end, you max out your budget just to impress these people with this nice house that you didn't want in the first place, and that you're only buying because other people said you should. And then you end up house poor under those terms. I mean, does that sound like a happy life to you, right? So you have to remember, guys, guys and girls, that in the end, it's your life. You have to make sure that you are doing things that are going to benefit, that are going to, benefit you and make you happy. If buying a house is not going to make you happy, then don't buy a house. And, just don't do it. I have a friend who, bought a house, and, you know, I think he maybe just was doing the right thing. He felt he was doing the right thing by buying a house, and, as we all did. But he ended up selling that house. In the end, I think he lived in it for maybe 2 or 3 years, and it's a total nightmare for him. He didn't like it. For him, he just wasn't his thing. He's a single guy too. This wasn't his thing. Buying a house just wasn't. He didn't like it. He didn't like having to repair it all the time. He didn't like. He just didn't care about all the costs associated and all the responsibility that came with owning a home. It just didn't fit him. There was no need for it, and so eventually he just sold it. Fortunately, he made a nice chunk of change when he sold it. However, he's never bought a home since. He's been renting ever since. And when I talk to him, he's like, he's adamant about never owning a home again, and that's okay. That's totally fine. It's totally fine. And so, again, you want to make sure you do what's going to make you happy, because if you're not happy doing what you're doing and why you're doing it, why are you doing it in the first place? We are not living for other people. You have to understand that. Are you living for other people? Unless that's what you're doing. Are you living for other people, or are you living for yourself? And that's not to say I'm promoting selfishness. However, you have to, in order for things to be worth it for you, there has to be some benefit. And when I say benefit, I'm not necessarily talking about selfish benefit, right? Like, for instance, why do I get up and work every day? To make money? Sure. But ultimately, because I want to take care of my family, and it honestly it's, for me, taking care of my family, my wife and my son is just, it's very important to me. And that's why I do what I do. So that's the benefit for me, being able to provide a comfortable life for my wife and my son, right? And whatever future kids we have, So I do it for my family. And so it's not a selfish benefit. So again, if it doesn't benefit you, then it's not going to make you happy. It doesn't make you happy, then why are you doing it? Why are you doing it, right? So again, I'm not saying that, if it doesn't make you happy, again, you may have a job that makes you, that you don't particularly care for, but it allows you to do things you love, and allows you to provide a nice life for your family. So you love that job because of that, not necessarily because of the task you're doing at work, right? So that makes, if that makes it make sense for you guys. So yes, in the end, you want to make sure you're buying a house because you want to, right? Because it's beneficial to you, and the benefits outweigh the disadvantages, and that, most importantly, don't be house poor. Buy something you can afford, please. Buy a house you can afford. And so that's what I got for you today. If you like the video, like it, thumbs up, I would appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel if you want to subscribe, see more of this stuff. If you like this style of video, just kind of I like being outside. I like nature. Nature's cool. Trees. I'm not saying I don't not like hiking and camping and all that stuff. Not to say I'm not interested in doing that someday. However, it's, being outside, getting the fresh breeze it's just, it's nice. So if you guys like this kind of stuff, let me know. I'll just keep doing it. I like being outside. It's cool. So with that said, I guess that's about it. If you guys have any questions about anything, like I said, I've been in real estate since 2018. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And if I can speak on that, because I know something about it, a thing or two about it, then I will I'll make a video on it. If I don't know about it, the subject, then maybe I will learn or collab with someone who does. And so, well, yeah, kind of just, sharing some, information based on my experience just in life in general. And yeah, so um, yeah, so that's about it. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Uh, all your, your support, and I appreciate you support the channel, and just give me a thumbs up, or even a thumbs down if you don't like it. Give me a thumbs down. But hey, here's the if you give me a thumbs down, just let me know. Let me know why you give me a thumbs down, because I don't want to keep doing the things that are causing me to get thumbs down, right? I want thumbs up. So preferably. So like, subscribe, dislike, don't subscribe, but just tell me why you didn't do it. Um, and I guess that's it. So you know until next time, have a great day, guys. All right, later.